Yeah. Got to be careful with this one, brothers and sisters. We're kind of in the thick of it here. We're in the woods. This is a big, gnarly burn pile. That's why I'm really taking it slow here. And that's why I'm spraying water in the trees above the burn pile. It was really windy a few days ago, and it dried out my burn piles good. And so once they start going, I mean, the fire really starts ripping hot. And this is a tricky location. We're in the thick of things here. I got one more tricky burn pile to do tomorrow, and then all the rest of the burn piles that are left, or about 16 of them, will be a piece of cake comparatively. This is going to be tricky though. The two I did yesterday were tricky. This one's going to be tricky. And then tomorrow's will be tricky as well. After that, it will be a piece of cake. So you can see we're on a slope. I torched the fire here. This is where I started it with my propane torch set up. And now it's going good. See, straight above us, we're good. See, just straight up, we're good. But over there, we've got some branches. Over there, we've got some branches in this big old gnarly leaning pine. And then we got some branches here. This is a black oak. Look at how pretty their leaves get during the fall, California black oak. This is about as vicious as I'm gonna let it. I don't want it going much crazier than this, everybody. I'm gonna do that every once in a while, just to be safe. Got freezing cold last night. There was actually, when I first got here, there was a little bit of ice around the pond. There's a pond down there, and there's a creek over here. That's why I chose this location, but it's just a little bit tricky because we got a lot of trees around us, and we're in the woods here burning. But that's kind of what you have to do when you're first opening up the land and doing your fire safety work, your forestry, fire ecology work, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes at the beginning, you know, the land that you're working on is just so overgrown and choked that sometimes you just got to put your burn piles kind of right in the thick of things, and then when you come back to next year, it'll be a lot easier. Everything will be open. You'll have some meadows to put your burn piles in, and then it's a piece of cake from that point out. Okay. We should be good now. All right, we should be good now. Man, this was a ripper, huh, everybody? Holy smokes. Look at this big leaning foothill pine. It's caught up in the blue oaks. Jeez. If that's not a hazard leaning tree, then I don't know what is. Property owner and I are still trying to figure out what to do with that situation. Here we go. Now you can see the size of this burn. I had some big branches in here. The creek is flowing here. Creek is flowing here. There's the pond. That's why I chose this location. Here's a ravine that has water in it during the winter. And that's why I chose this location to burn. It's just surrounded by water. I did 2 burn piles over there yesterday. And yeah, we're looking good. This is the only burn pile I'm torching today. This thing's gonna be burning for hours. This thing will be burning until it's time for me to go home. So this was a big one, so this is the only one I'm gonna do today, and this was a tricky one. The one I'm doing tomorrow is another big one up there, and it's also tricky, and that's the only one I'm gonna do tomorrow. So we just gotta let this burn down until it's manageable and we can get close enough to use our Rogue fire rake to rake all the remnants of the rim into the center, burn all that. Probably have to rake 2 more times after that, and then we're done. Remove the excessive fuel loads from the property you're working on. Cut the small dead trees, cut the ladder fuels, cut the noxious weeds, the dead brush. Do your weed whacking and brush cutting, and then cut the small trees with your chainsaw. Construct your burn piles. Wait until the winter when everything's soaking wet and freezing cold, and then torch them with your Red Dragon propane torch setup. I have both a 5-gallon tank and a 2.5-gallon tank, and then the Red Dragon propane torch just connects to whatever propane tank you're using. Alright, I gave it a chance to burn down. Let's check out how we're progressing now. Still too hot to get any closer to it and rake, but here's the creek I was telling you about. Starts way up there at the top of the cliffs and springs, and then comes down here, and then eventually feeds into the giant pond right there. Boy, isn't that the most soothing sound in the world? That slow flowing water with the fire crackling in the background. Woo-wee! You can see how I'm just letting it burn. There's no point to me, you know, just spraying anything anymore. Everything's soaking wet. It's winter. Just let it burn. Let it burn. It's okay if it jumps its edges a little bit and burns a couple feet out. Who cares? That's good. It's just like a low intensity prescribed burn for the land. Native Americans did this. Forest Service does this, National Park Service does this, CAL FIRE does this. Prescribed burning has finally, thank God, become mainstream in California. Of course, we had to learn our lesson the hard way, right? We've had decades of just absolutely catastrophic fires, you know, that just burn everything and kill people, burn houses, burn entire cities down. Burn entire forests down, just decimate the land. And that was because for the longest time the state of California thought that the best thing to do is just to leave the forests alone, not manage them, not do anything, just don't touch them, right? Like people are evil and land management by people is like a bad thing, right? But Sierra Nevada Ecosystem Project did that huge academic publication, those 3 huge books. There's been a bunch of people testifying before Congress. There's been tons of studies done, and now California's finally changing course and supports land management. There needs to be more people doing this work, though. I'm the only person in this entire area where I live that does this type of work. It's hard. It's hard work. It's probably what keeps people away, but